Ladies and gentlemen, SideStrafe back with a brief look at Naval Action. And today's video is going to feature a match in the Cerberus versus the game's AI. And obviously I don't really like posting videos of bot matches, but sadly there aren't that many people in the alpha test as of late. In fact, I think when I filmed this one there was maybe 8 or 9 people online, all of which were in battles, and so I really had no choice but to fight bots in order to get some footage. Now, with that said, I hope to have answered your question in regards to where new content may be. Obviously, with very few players online, it's very difficult to acquire new footage. I think at peak, maybe 30 people are online playing this game, and that's just not a lot considering by the time you're logged into the UI, they're already in matches. Beyond all of that, even if there were more people in testing, I don't think there's much else I can show you of this game, let alone talk about, whether it's in post or live commentary. I've pretty much discussed everything, and so has Bismarck and even RamJB. We've covered this game in spades, and really the magic behind Naval Action is going to be the open world gameplay. The thing is, when are we going to see open world testing? Unfortunately, there just doesn't seem to be an ETA. They did originally say sometime in the spring, but it looks like that's not happening, so we'll have to wait a little bit longer. I do try to keep in mind that Game Labs is a very small team, probably somewhere around 10 individuals. And this is, of course, more of a passion project than something that's just seeking to steal your wallet, which is, of course, nice, but again, you have to be extra patient with these things. Now, in case you're new to the channel, or perhaps you've just never heard of Naval Action, I'd like to take some time to talk about what this game is and isn't. You're probably looking at this footage and you're thinking, well, this is like World of Warships, but with Age of Sail. But you'd be mistaken there, and regardless of what other YouTubers have told you, no, it's not to be compared to that title. This is actually going to be an open world style MMO of sorts. Think maybe more Pirates of the Burning Sea, EVE Online, or maybe even Elite Dangerous. But please, oh please, do not compare it to World of Warships. World of Warships is a fine game. I love it. It's fantastic. However, it really doesn't have a lot in common with this title. If anything, maybe the fact that they have water, and that's about it. Fun fact for today's video, did you know that it can take upwards of 3 months to create one of these ships? That's obviously a lot of effort that goes into building a fantastic looking vessel, and especially one that's supposed to be historically accurate. I think a lot of people don't really appreciate the amount of work that goes into video games when you think about the men and women of the game development industry spending many, many hours modeling and texturing, animating, and programming these things into a game. We often ask for more content. We're always saying, hey, we need a new vehicle, add this new tank, plane, ship, whatever. We want this, we want that. We're always so demanding of these developers. But guys, you have to remember how long it takes to build these things, especially when it's a much, much smaller team. So the next time you're sailing around in a ship in Naval Action, think about the amount of time that went into its creation, and try to have some appreciation for it. Now, going back to talking about what this game is looking to be in the future, for those of you that, again, have not played it, this is something that is going to be open world. So you want to think about player-run ports, exploration, trade, picking a nation at the start in order to perhaps join the Navy, or maybe become a privateer. You do have the option to live a life of piracy, but I don't really recommend it because it's a lot more difficult than you think when you have a bunch of navies hunting you down in very big ships. So it's not as exciting as you might actually think. In reality, piracy was not a simple task. I think a lot of movies and video games perhaps have glorified it, and so you might want to think twice about becoming a pirate when you play Naval Action, although it is possible. Beyond that, in regards to the gameplay, it is leaning more towards realism. So it's not going to be for those of you that want something arcade. You can see just by this footage that it is a lot slower paced. In most cases, when you're engaging in fleet combat, you're more so playing a game of chess, and you're having to counter the abilities of other ships, and you're having to think many steps ahead because of the speed of your ship and the amount of time it might take to turn your vessel with the sails. The wind is at play here. You can get stuck against the wind. You have to learn how to tack and manipulate your sails. In the larger ships, of course, it's not as big of a deal with smaller ships that can easily turn and tack against the wind. But you can see just even fighting bots here that there's a lot more that goes into it. Now, I would say that if we had to label this something, maybe we could say more of a soft simulator. It's not arcade, it's not study sim, DCS world style, but it's more so something in between. There are a few things currently in the alpha test that are unrealistic, such as the ability to repair your hull with a repair kit or fix a broken mast. Things that would normally take many hours or days or even weeks to complete in real life are able to be done in a few seconds within this test. Now, this is, of course, just in the sea trials. We don't know what the final product is going to be. We don't know if repair kits are going to work the same. We don't know if you're just going to have to buy a certain amount of materials. There's talks of perhaps having to purchase extra lumber and sails and things like that, and store that in your ship in order to be able to repair at sea. But in doing so, you are filling up cargo space, so it's one of those things where it might be a gamble depending on what you choose. But again, a lot of this stuff is just speculation. It is not official information in regards to how the game is going to play out, but this is just, I think, some ideas that the player community has had. We really have no idea whether that it's going to lean towards realism or maybe accessibility and ease of use. Okay, now that we've discussed what this game is going to be, for those of you that might be new to the title, let's go ahead and take a look at some screenshots that are on the developer blog featuring some of the new land masses within closed open world testing. Again, I don't have access to this currently. I hope to in the future and perhaps provide you with some actual video of the test. But for the time being, let's just gaze at the glory that is open world in Naval Action via screenshots. Alright, ladies and gentlemen, I have to say that I'm actually quite impressed with what Game Labs has been able to do with the environments here in Naval Action. It's not as bad as I thought it would be. I was almost thinking that they might skimp on the island detail, but as you can see, they appear to be quite lush and ripe for discovery. I just hope that the game plays as good as it looks. But ladies and gentlemen, with that said, I really hope that you've enjoyed today's look at Naval Action. This has been a status update of sorts, and I'll have more information for you once I actually get into the open world testing. But until then, stay tuned to the main channel page for updates on this game and others, and I will definitely see you on the next one.